Okay, this is MXUX. This is a video on a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, threat for the Aptera. Um, this is like a case study thing where it's just a framework to kind of look at the situation. I thought it would be interesting to do for the Aptera. Let's just get started on these slides here. All right, we're going to do strength first. And here's one of the main strengths of the Aptera is self-charging. I did another video on this. It's 60% of households can't charge at home. Um, People street park, they live in apartments, they live in condos with homeowners associations that won't allow them to put in a charger. Or, and I have some video on this that thinking about doing a video one day. You have to have a minimum of 100 amp service in your home. And if it was built after about 65 or so, I would imagine you'd probably have that. But you have to have at least 100 amp service in the United States. And you have to have room to put more breakers in your breaker box. These panels, they have so many slots. Sometimes you can take fat breakers out and put skinny ones in. So you got to have 100 amp service minimum. I'm not an electrician, but this is rule of thumb. You got to have room for the breakers, okay? If you don't have either of those, you have to get new electrical service put in your house, or you have to get a new electrical breaker box put in. These are expensive propositions. This is besides running the cable to the location where the plug is going to be. So, and this is to get a 220 line. I think that's called a level 2 charger at home. And now, even if you have 100 amp and you have room for the breakers, they have to go through a licensed electrician has to go through and see what your load is, because you can't exceed the power supply to your house at any given time, or it'll heat up. The breakers will throw. If they don't throw, then you'll heat up the wires. But the point is, there's a lot of homes in America that don't meet these requirements. And there's an apartment building nearby where I live here, and the power was going out. The lights were dimming, and the power was going out and turning back on. They put entirely new service in. They had to run a new wire from the telephone pole, and where they just had a little gray box on the wall, now they have a box outside that's the size of a job time John. It's gigantic. It's like a refrigerator. It's like a big refrigerator where the wire goes in, and they put new power supply into the building and new main breakers, and they increased the amps, and now the lights don't dim. But I doubt very much if they increase that enough to allow to put a charging circuit. Now, Tesla has a thing where they can have multiple chargers and they'll share the load. Other chargers don't. And they're assuming you're going to charge at night when no one is using energy. But, if you live in an apartment building, there people may be using, it's a complicated thing. I'm just saying, if you have a new home or a newer home with a modern electrical system, you probably don't have a problem. That's about 40% of the country in the United States. These are the Tesla buyers. Tesla is skimming the cream off of this charging capability. And I think, there's going to be a point where, I mean, it's obviously a big market, but still, 60% aren't going to be able to charge at home without a major expense. And I've also done some research on this. I have to do a video on this. EV ownership makes no sense without home charging. And if you have to do 110 charging, just a regular outlet charging with a Tesla, it's unmanageable. You cannot even get enough power over the course of an evening. After driving back and forth to work 4 or 5 days, you're going to be finished. And then you're going to have to spend time at a charger. Now, these third-party chargers, putting aside Tesla, which has their own charging network, which is kind of scarce in where I'm living now. I'll just give you an example. I don't know if this was a Blink charger, what the brand was. I just saw a thing uh, that in the UK, when they started, they had a flat fee of $11 to charge your car to full. Now that flat fee has gone up to $65. There was another guy road testing a Mustang E on on the YouTube there, and he stopped to use a public charger. A couple of them, there were different fees at every charger. Some of them had a flat fee. Some of them charged so much per minute. So this is unregulated, and in many places, these locations set what price they're going to charge. You know, like they put it in at a gas station, they decide what they're going to charge for the charging. But anyway, you're leaving yourself open to all these bandits with these charging systems and this is going to become a premium. They're going to start really, if they have a good location, whatever. I mean, I can just see it, supply and demand. So anyway, Aptera has the self-charging modules in a reasonable climate. It can charge, and also the way the efficiency of the whole system, and I'll go through this later, allows you to charge reasonably well. You can charge for 3 or 4 hours a night and have plenty of charge to. You can get like 40 miles with a 110, just a regular extension cord in an Aptera. This is the big advantage of the Aptera. For people that don't have, that have to park on the street, that don't have a garage, or that don't have covered parking, that don't have an ability to put in a charging, the level 2 charger. Some people don't even have the ability. This Aptera solves this problem brilliantly. And I think it's the main strength of the Aptera. All right, let's go to the next one. And I'm going to try to do a video on this charging situation. I don't think people realize, you know, and I don't think the total addressable market is as big as it is. I think Tesla is skimming these prime customers off the market, and it's going to be harder. Well, anyway, I mean, it's a big market. There's not that much penetration now at some point. Okay, next slide. Okay, again, with the Aptera, the efficient use of the battery, you know, the aerodynamic design. I'm sure they're going to have a special battery design with flux power. I'm sure. I'm relative. I mean, this is my opinion. That's going to just work great. Anyway, because of the lightweight, because of the aerodynamics, it's a reasonable range with the lower capacity battery, which is a lighter vehicle, and this just simplifies everything. And it gets you to the point where you can have a reasonable 110 volt charging. If you can charge 3 or 4 hours a night with a regular extension cord, this is a rough example. Then you can use the lowest level Aptera, the 25K, and you can charge with a 110 outlet, and it's completely doable. If you live in a sunny climate, you know, you may not have to charge at all. So again, the design is part of the efficiency that makes the battery smaller, that makes the charging doable. So this is another real big strength. These are major strengths of the Aptera, you know, it's beating Tesla on these metrics. So this is a great concept they have. Okay, another strength they have is innovative design. Again, state-of-the-art aerodynamics. Their material science is going to just be blown up. I'm sure that they're looking at all kind of stuff. I mean, there are so many different fibers they can use now, and carbon fibers coming of age, and the cost is lowering. Who knows what they're going to come up with exactly? But they're going to be able to really, I think they're going to even be able to optimize this vehicle more. And also, innovative design includes the manufacturing techniques. UV light curing of the body. It's a molded body. eliminate welding, eliminate the body in white. This is the equivalent of Tesla molding, with those giant liquid aluminum molding machines they have, molding parts of the car. This is the same thing. Oops, sorry. This is the same thing, but with a different concept, but the same kind of efficiency. And this all ties in with the battery. This ties in with the charging. So this is pulling all these pieces together. It's a major strength for the vehicle. Okay, now one of the weaknesses. So those are the strengths. I think that's pretty clear. Now let's go into the weaknesses. I have a picture here of the Pontiac Fiero. And this car sold an average of 30,000 cars a year during its short lifespan and its troubled lifespan. But it was it was a similar car to the Aptera in that it had a plastic body. It was a two-seater. It had a unique. It was the widest, lowest car ever built by General Motors. It had a mid-engine design. It had 4951 weight distribution, four-wheel independent suspension, four-wheel disc brakes. It was, again, the widest, lowest car Pontiac built. And John DeLorean, who designed the DeLorean, actually designed that car. But now, even with all the problems, and it had engine fires, and there were tracking problems, which all these things were worked out, and they did an engine recall on it. It was still selling 30,000 units a year. And at the end, I think they were up higher than that. I think they were getting close to 100,000 units a year. But anyway, this just goes to show you that, you can sell a car like this in the United States. But in this case, we're considering it a weakness. Okay? It's a two-seat design. It limits the total addressable market. Okay? And so you don't have the back seat for the child seat. You don't have the back seat for the dog, although maybe a dog can fit back there. You don't have the two kid seats in the back. So it's limited to being a second car, okay, for running errands, a commuter car, a first car, perhaps like the Fiero, more catering toward the youth market where they don't have family concerns. So it's definitely not a family car. And you can consider that to be a weakness. So again, the Fiero proved that you could sell that car. Of course, it's a different time. I think the Aptera is probably a better design. But anyway, it's still a weakness. The two-seat is a weakness. Okay, we got a picture of the Stealth Fighter there. It's got a polarizing design. Okay, it again limits the TAM. Okay, people either hate it or love it. Okay, they can't wait to see one. They can't wait to sit in one, or they would never be caught dead in one. Unconventional buyers will be interested. Traditional buyers are going to avoid it. Also, despite the success of the last version of the Aptera, this is untried. This is a new. It's the new. Will it work? It's polarizing design, and that people are saying, well, how's this thing even going to work? I had one guy ask me, he goes, well, don't the wheels heat up? No, the wheels don't. I mean, the wheels have cooling lines in them, and so on and so forth. So this is what people are thinking about this car. People don't even understand how these hub motors work. So in any case, and a lot of people feel that if it's not a family car, or if it doesn't have the potential to be a family car, I guess there's reason that it's not a car. So this is another weakness. which is the other side of the coin of the effective design. So, nonetheless, a weakness, a polarizing design. Okay, this is a biggie. There's no charging network from Aptera for the Apteras. Okay, it's limited to third-party chargers. I went over this earlier. Unknown charging costs. This is a total variable. You have no idea what your costs are going to be for this car. If you have to use or any electric car, if you have to use a third-party charging stations on a regular basis, you have no idea. You also have no idea of whether you're going to really have availability. Are they going to be used? Is the thing going to be damaged? There's a whole lot of questions that come into play with this. Are they going to be convenient? I mean, I did a video here going over, how, the false image that's represented of the public charging network. It's not good at all, really. Also, will this limit the area of use of the car? I mean, if you want to go any long distance, are you going to be able to do it? So this is a key attribute that buyers look at. I found from my research, as far as when they're going to buy a car, an electric vehicle, are they, because you need a charging network. And I think this is something Rivian and some of these other players are going to be faced with. I think Tesla is so far ahead on this. Now, there's been plenty of talk and winky emojis about it being part of the Tesla charger network, and it shows that Tesla. Now, if it is, and I've alluded to this myself. If it is, it's going to be fantastic, because this is going to be, the superchargers of the level 2 chargers. They're going to be able to charge the Aptera in little or no time because of the small size of the battery. It's going to be a fantastic thing for the future owners of this car if it does become part of the Tesla network. But we don't know that. So right now it's a weakness. And anybody considering a new car, they're going to go for Tesla, right? Because you're going to say Aptera, well, I don't know if it's going to be on Tesla or not. So until that's announced, this is a real weakness also for the car. Okay, now let's go into opportunities. I got this guy here. All right, I don't know, that's a stock picture, but he's our new EV consumer. Awakens a new EV consumer. Yeah. So this is a whole new market segment. It's different than anything that's out there. I know the Arcimoto is out there, but the Arcimoto is basically a motorcycle. It's not weatherproof. It doesn't have self-charging. It's basically a totally different vehicle than the Aptera. So anyway, this is going to spark the imagination of a whole new segment of people that might not even have considered an EV. It's the new thing. It's very unconventional. It's function over form I have there. There's engineering breakthroughs all over the place on this thing, between the hub motors, the body design, the cooling integrated into the body, and it's not like anything out there. So because it's a whole new product, it's like a new web service, or it's like when they invented Facebook or some of these other things, Instagram. Well, who's going to use it? What are they going to use it for? Well, there's a market out there for it that we don't even know about yet. That's going to develop itself because it's so different and because it's so new. So I think there's going to be a whole segment of consumers that it's going to knock their consumer balance off a little bit till they get one. This is my opinion anyway. I think it is going to open up a totally new sector that these other vehicles are not addressing, and conventional vehicles aren't addressing. Okay, this is one that I think is overlooked by everybody. should they not? I mean, I don't know if they're going to detune this, if they're going to push the performance aspect of this vehicle. But I can tell you, I've done a lot of research on these hub motors. I've done a lot of work on Lordstown Motors, who's using the same motors, the same motor manufacturer. And, you know, these motors, in both cases, Lordstown, they're going to detune them. I think Aptera mentioned that they're going to limit the highway speed on this too. But I got to tell you, depending on the model of this motor, they produce 150 horsepower motor. You've got three motors. If you get the three motor drive on the Aptera, that's going to be 450 horsepower on a very lightweight vehicle and an aerodynamic vehicle. And that's enough in itself. Then these have individual computer control units on each motor, and there's traction control, which is going to keep the wheels from spinning and so forth. And this is a big plus. Now, the other thing that people aren't talking about, which, you know, may be more into play with the endurance pickup truck, is the torque vectoring. Torque vectoring, you know, what it does is you get three wheels, okay? You can have the left front wheel going 3 miles an hour. You can have the right front wheel going 10 miles an hour, and you can have the rear wheel going 8 miles an hour. So in other words, not only physically turning the wheels will cause the car to turn direction, but this torque vectoring will actually use the power of the motors to reposition the car. And this is something that they use in F1 cars, and it's pretty fantastic. You're also going to have all-wheel drive. So, you know, 450 horsepower, traction control, torque vectoring, all-wheel drive. You know, now these motors, again, I believe, and they did the testing, and if you look at some of my other videos about the Lordstown Endurance and Lordstown Motors, you can see some of these tests. I have video clips. They put these hub motors on a BMW. I think it was a BMW SUV, or a small SUV. What do they call those? You know, the crossover vehicles. Anyway, they were getting under 3.3 seconds on 0 to 60. I think less than 3.3 seconds. This is a much lighter car. Of course, it's going to have one less wheel, but I think, you know, you could easily expect that kind of performance. This is an opportunity for this car. I mean, this is a real hot rod. It's good. It can be. I mean, no one's marketing the car in that sense, but it really is. And I think that's something that can really, I mean, this thing is going to, I'll tell you, have to see how it does on the track. I think it's going to do very good. Oddly enough, the Fiero did very good on the track as well. It was a very winning GTU road race car, you know, before its demise, because they were worried, the word was they were worried it was going to take over the Corvette market, because with the 6-cylinder. Anyway, the point is, this car here is you know, I don't want to call it like a ninja motorcycle, but I'll tell you what, the aerodynamic, this is like an F1 car. You know, and they're going to have I think they're going to sneak some carbon fiber in there. I mean, this thing is going to be a hot rod if they want it to be. Anyway, it's an opportunity. Okay, this is another opportunity that the Aptera presents. At the low end, I think it's $26K. You can look it up. This is a high value electric vehicle. It's low cost. It's got a mass market potential. I don't know if it's the cheapest EV you can buy right now, but it's got to be one of the cheapest. I don't know if there's any subsidies that are going to come, but I think even without the subsidies right now, it's one of the cheapest, and it's affordable. And you can see by the pre-orders that people are ordering it. So now, if excuse me, Tesla just lowered the price on the Model 3. They say they're going to get the $7,000 tax credit. It may, the price may come down on that as well. But for right now, this is one of the lowest cost uh, cool electric vehicles you can get. I mean, I'm sure you can get one of these little Chinese mini cars. Who would, it's something I would not, personally, I would not feel safe in that, and I would not feel that it was a good expense. I don't think that would hold up. Anyway, um, let's go through the threats now. The Aptera is pre-production. Okay, they got a alpha or beta prototype. They do not have any mass-produced vehicles. They do not have a line running. They got Sandy Munro working on it, the best in the biz, but still, I went over this with one of the last videos I did on the Aptera about the production they were modeling at this point after the GM, after the Viper. Can it be mass produced? We can't say that we know that. You know, can it be mass produced at a profit? We can't say that we know that. Um, they got a roller. That's not a pusher. That's a real car they have, and I know they've been running it all over the place. But will the concept work in the real world? You know, um, I'm pretty confident it will. I think, um, there's potential there for some, maybe the molded body to fail or stress cracks or something of that nature. But who knows? So these are questions people are asking, will it work in the real world? If they buy one, is the company going to go under because it's not making any profit? And there's already people, um, some people have contacted me regarding some of the videos asking questions. There are people that are already, future short sellers on this to attack the SPAC or the IPO or the stock on this. And, you know, they're, they're already lining their ducks up. So this is a threat. This is one of the reasons I did the video on the founder's background. I was curious myself, but anyway, and of course, it's pre-production. Will they run out of money before they hit production? You know, um, the first time they were up for loans in a Terra version one, in which was 2008 or 2005, that loan they were up for was 120 million. Okay, I think Tesla got 450 million. You can look at my video on that. These are the levels of cash it takes to launch, vehicle production in the United States. This is the amount of money they have to raise. And although personally, I'm very confident, I'm very optimistic about this. I think the strengths outweigh the weaknesses and threats here. But um, these are all threats. Um, can it be mass produced? Will it make a profit? Will it work? These are all questions, people are asking. When the short sellers attack, I mean, that's a threat they're going to be facing too. They should be prepared um, to respond to these short sellers who may come out of the woodwork early. Who knows? But certainly, if you learned anything from Tesla, but I think this is very real. I've gotten some emails and things from people that are questioning, and they need Aptera. Are you out there listening? Anthony, Fambro, you got to think ahead. Uh, have a response team. Have some kind of thing set up to respond to these short attacks. I would start now. Okay. Anyway, and will they run out of money? I'm pretty confident that they're going to squeak by on the money. But these are all questions that people are asking. So these are all threats that are facing. I think there's a lot of people, as evidenced by the pre-orders, that like this design and that are behind this product. So, but again, these are threats that we're facing here. Now, here's the big elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. The 25K Tesla that they're going to make in China and export all over the world. Yikes. Now, with the the experience Tesla has, this is likely going to have a back seat. Maybe not, but it's going to be a two-door. I think it probably will have a small back seat. The battery's going to be good. They may make it out of one casting. I mean, I'm sure the design is going to be great. So, it's a concept now, and they haven't done it. And, I am personally worried about Tesla's exposure in China. I don't know, it's, I'm not going to get into it here, but I think, manufacturing in China, I don't know. It's the one Achilles heel of Tesla, I feel right now. But anyway, this is a concept now, and it hasn't, look at the Cybertruck, they got a roller on that. They got a beta, and it's still not made. So this, who knows? But, they built a factory in 1 year in China. Anyway, about the same price as the entry-level Aptera, full-blown charging network, established brand, quality manufacturer, I mean, you look at the problem BMW's having with these i3s that were made a couple of years ago now. Tesla has done a really good job. The problems that other EV manufacturers are having after a couple of years, or even right away, the Volkswagens all brick, the computer systems. I mean, Tesla is really a quality manufacturer, and they do not have the problems that these other EVs have. And again, it's the backseat hatchbacks. It's not exactly a three-box design, but it's a conventional automobile. It's a familiar design. This is a major threat to Aptera as well. Now, of course, if you look at the strengths of the Aptera, it's the self-charging concept that's going to be the main. It's going to address that market that this car is not going to address, or it's going to be harder for this car to address. Anyway, that's the big one. And how soon will this roll out? Will the Aptera come out first? When you're weighing it, do I get a Tesla? Do I get an Aptera? Anyway, this is the main threat. So they got to work on their marketing, get their unique selling points down. And anyway, they seem to be doing a good job right now at Aptera. But this is the one to look for. I think the one weakness here is that this is going to be made in China, and who knows, there could be trade problems with China. Who knows, tariffs on vehicles manufactured there. There's a whole lot of other things that could happen. But anyway, that is, I think, the major threat facing Aptera. So they got to come up with a strategy and tactics to counter that. But it's vaporware now anyway. So that's it. That's the presentation. And I don't know. The creepy music isn't playing. Okay. Well, anyway, that's the presentation. I hope you like it. And it's just a framework if you look at it like a case study. So I hope you like the video, And that's it. All right, guys.